Hello! We're so excited to be here. I'm Shireen.
And I'm Scott.
We're really pumped to talk to you guys about Nima and another Facebook Live session. For those of you who were tuned in last time, it was unpackaging. This time we're going to be doing some live tests on some very sweet treats. And we'll answer questions along the way as we go, and we'll have a Q&A at the end of our demo. Quick shipping update for those of you who have already pre-ordered. We're fulfilling all our orders through the fall, and when it's ready, you'll receive tracking information. And those of you still patiently waiting, thank you so much. You guys are our early adopters, our champions, and we wouldn't be here without you. And for those of you who have received Nima, we absolutely love what you're sharing. If you're curious as to what some of the users are saying about Nima, go to the Nima community stories shown on the laptop in just a second here as Donut gets prepared. But community stories for people who are sharing just awesome stories. One of my favorite, most recent ones is from Santorini. We had Nima on the go testing some delicious fish and potatoes and came out gluten-free. So check it out and share your stories with us.
And you can see a bunch of these user stories on our Nima Sensor page here, .com/ can you see it over here? Yep, / community-stories.
Yeah.
So check it out. Lots of really exciting stories of people using Nima in the wild out here. All right. So at the last session, we received a handful of questions about just food sample testing, what we can test, what type of sample size we're supposed to have, how much food to put in the capsule. So we got you covered on YouTube. So we put some videos on YouTube, youtube.com/Nima Sensor, right here, where we show some of those foods, the process for testing some of them, and just best practices for what Nima can and cannot test.
Okay. Speaking of food testing, so I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm dressed up as gluten-free pizza, and Donut Scott is dressed up as a donut because Halloween's coming up and sweet treats are top of mind. So with Halloween comes trick-or-treating. What are your favorite gluten-free candies? We'd love to know. Please write them in comments. And some people may be wondering if you can test candies with Nima. It's a big question we get. And here are some tips on how to test different types of candies, whether they're gooey or small or hard. We're going to kind of walk you through it.
Yeah. And let's see. We'll take a check, see if there's any. I don't see any comments yet with requests on what to test, but shoot them in, and we'll do some testing or some demoing for you guys on what you're wondering about.
Pizza's cooking.
But let's hear. So first we have, so if you're going to test something with chocolate in it, so we have some little delicious chocolate here. So chocolate is pretty simple. So when we think about testing with Nima, some of the things that you have to be aware of are if food is very gooey or very hard, it can potentially damage the Nima capsule. This is just plastic. If something is much harder than the plastic, it could break part of it. And so with chocolate, that's not really an issue. Chocolate's not going to be that hard. To test a piece of chocolate, you can just take a little piece, just break it off. And again, remember, you only need tiny pieces. So I don't even know if you can see that there, but I just have a tiny little piece of this chocolate. You can just break it off with your hand, toss it in, and run a test on this. And we can probably just test this right now. So we'll toss them in and show you guys. So I'm just taking little samples, putting it in the top, screwing the cap on. And for the chocolate, because it's soft, that's pretty much all you have to do. You don't have to do any other processing. Nima will do all the processing for you. So that is in there now. We're going to turn on Nima, so 2 seconds to turn it on, and then a quick press to start the test. And now that's going to start running, so we'll actually find out if this is going to be safe for me to chow down on afterwards. I hope it is. So then let's talk about gummy foods. Do we have a sample of a gummy food over here? So if you have something gummy and gooey, which I have right here, this can be a little bit tricky in Nima because of how gooey it is. It can make things get clogged up. So what you want to do if you're testing something like this gummy bear is just cut off some little pieces of it, and that will help just start the pre-processing. And then you can take these little gooey chunks here and then toss that into one of the capsules. Let's see, it looks like we're getting some comments in with some questions. So M&Ms, Butterfingers, Snickers, Reese's, these are all questions that came in. So for those, that's going to be fairly similar to this piece of chocolate that we're running a test on right now. So just keep in mind that anything that is fairly soft, sort of the way that we think about it is if you can chew it with your teeth, that's going to be soft enough for Nima to test it. Something like a hard candy, like a hard peppermint candy or a Jolly Rancher, that's not chewable by your teeth, so Nima can't chew it either. And
for all of these, it's just so important for you, as all of you well know, to read the ingredients before. Make sure that you know exactly what that label says. Often with Halloween, the challenge is sometimes for those smaller packaged goods, you don't have the label. So that's why it's really important to prep the foods in the way that we're showing you today for all the different types of consistencies. We had a question about Sour Patch. We have tested a batch and it tested gluten-free. So Nima has tested Sour Patches specifically.
And then, so for something like an M&M, for example, with this is a little bit too big to put in the Nima capsule by itself. So for something like this, you just want to crush it a little bit. Let's see, we can crush it with this. So
it's like this Halloween haircut.
It is, yeah.
Just giving a haircut to all these candies.
So for this, you would just crush it a little bit. For candies like this, it's also good to get a cross section. So with this M&M, when I crush it, now I can see a little bit of the chocolate inside, a little bit of the harder shell on the outside, and that's going to be really good because that makes sure that you get a good cross section of the food and are testing the full sample. Also, we're totally making a mess here, but this is fun.
We're really talking about a new way you can play with food. Another thing about the labeling, something to note about Halloween is that a lot of times during the holiday season, candies are actually manufactured at a secondary site that might differ from the standard production of the site. So again, just being really careful, knowing exactly what the manufacturing process is, reading the label, and then finally taking the extra precautions to properly sample anything you want to test with Nima. We had a question about if we can test cornmeal. For any flours or really dense sort of floury material such as cornmeal, you don't want to fill up the entire cap with cornmeal. Instead, just a tiny amount. If you dilute it again with water, it will flow much better. And we're good.
Good. We got a smiley. All right, I'm eating it.
All right.
Do you want it?
No, you're I'm saving my calories for Halloween.
I'm having it. Yeah, so as Shereen was saying, for several foods, it's good to do a little bit of dilution. So for things like cornmeal, if you're testing a flour, even if you're testing something like a sugary candy that might be a little bit hard, you can potentially dilute a little bit of that, just put a little bit of water in the capsule. That will help it work better.
Definitely. All right, Teal Pumpkin Project. So why do we have this gorgeous teal pumpkin here? So as many of you know, we are working on nuts and milk next. So food awareness and food allergies are a big part of what we do. And that's why we have this teal pumpkin. Teal Pumpkin Project is an initiative by the Food Allergy Research and Education Program, started a few years ago in Tennessee to help spread the word nationwide and help really increase awareness around folks that are actively avoiding certain foods. And teal is the color of the food allergy awareness. So if you're walking around during Halloween and you see that teal pumpkin, you'll know that household or wherever that place is distributing candy should be very aware of food allergies. Place a teal colored pumpkin or print out a sign like this one. I'm going to grab right here. You can get this sign online, so at the fair program, and essentially you can just put that outside, and then it's a signal to let trick-or-treaters know that your house is aware and can offer those foods that are safe for folks that are avoiding certain foods.
Yeah. So
one thing.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What's the color of the bottom foot of Nima?
Look at that, it's teal.
Wow, look at that. I mean, that is gorgeous, really. It's just
your
so
Nima
perfect.
can match your teal pumpkin, so make sure you get your Nima along with your teal pumpkin.
So we want to end with Q&A. We had a question about vitamins and meds.
Yeah, so someone wrote in, asked if we can test vitamins and medicines. So this is not something that we have validated Nima against yet. So we don't know basically if it will work or if it will not. So we recommend to look at our website, we've done thousands of tests in our lab validating it against food. So that was really our first focus, making sure that we were very sensitive towards food and could test a very wide range of food. So we have a list of the foods that we have validated against and not validated against, and things like vitamins and medicines is something that we would look at some point in the future. Yeah. And then it looks like we also had a question about if you need to do any shaking or any other processing of the capsule when you run a test. So you don't. The way that Nima was designed is that Nima is supposed to do as much as possible for you. So really all you have to do is put food in the top and screw the cap on and then put it into here. And Nima actually runs all the processing. So it mixes the food, it extracts the gluten into solution. It's only for some of those really hard foods or very powdery foods where you might want to do a little bit of pre-processing before actually putting the food into the capsule.
So someone asked us to do a test on these little chocolate buttons, also known as M&Ms. So I'm going to just read the allergy information here. It says contains milk and soy, may contain peanuts. Okay, so let's pop one of these that we've already prepared with scissors into a capsule. So you've already pre-prepared it.
Yep, so you just need a little chunk. Toss it in.
Putting it in. I think that M&Ms could use a teal color too.
I think that would
look really good.
A Halloween special.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Again, Nima could be as fast as around 2 minutes and take longer depending on the amount of gluten in the sample and what we're testing and the texture of food and the density, etc. So when you're wondering how long this takes, it really is a range depending on what you're testing. So M&M is chugging along. Scott, what was your favorite Halloween costume?
Oh, I think this donut. This is really solid. Yeah. I just got this morning. Yeah, I worked very hard on it. Yeah. No, I can thank our wonderful team for this costume. My favorite Halloween costume. That's a tough one.
You were dressed up as.
That I was dressed up as at some point. One time, I dated this girl in high school, and she wanted to be a butterfly, and so she made me be a butterfly catcher.
That's very romantic.
It was, yeah, it was very cute.
I didn't know you had that.
I got a lot of compliments. Yeah. Butterfly catcher, yeah.
You don't know
I
what
had
that
a
is.
net, yeah. Ran around, it was wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So let's see, are we getting any other comments in here so I can avoid my embarrassment? Let's see, I don't see
Thank you,
any.
Erica. We love that you love our costumes.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, so the M&Ms are testing. I don't see any additional comments yet, but if you guys have any other questions about things that you want us to test or any questions about Nima. All right, it looks like someone had a question about ELISA testing. Is this an ELISA? So this is, we use technology in here that it's chemistry-based technology that's actually very similar to the chemistry that's in an ELISA test. An ELISA test is more a lab-style test. It takes several hours to run. What we've done with this is taken very similar technology and then put it into a very portable device. So actually, we've done some validation studies, and the chemistry in Nima is as sensitive as these lab-style ELISA tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite costume?
Oh, besides my pizza?
Yeah.
I was a flower pot for 6 consecutive years.
A flower pot?
From kindergarten onwards, and it got really, really tight at the end. So it was a little racy of a costume. But yeah, I like that one. The flower pot was great.
The flower pot. What does that entail? Were you in
I
a
was
bucket?
in a pot, and then I had a flower in my around my head.
That.
All right, we had another question from a wonderful early champion of Nima who asked if they're still waiting on their Nima. And I want to give an update here. We're fulfilling all the pre-orders. Through the end of the year, you'll receive the Nima in the order of when it was purchased, and know that there were a ton of purchases in the very beginning. So it's sort of front-loaded as we work through the pipeline. But we're so excited to get it to you and so appreciate the early support. Like I said, we wouldn't be here without you.
Yeah. And we have started shipping, so the products are shipping out the door, and so we're definitely looking to get all of the pre-orders out as quickly as we can.
Exactly. We had another question about testing Haribo gummies. I don't think we have tested Haribo. We have tested Sour Patch Kids, but not Haribo.
Yeah.
I love Haribo though. So good.
All right, let's see if we're getting any other questions here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Someone loves their Nima. We love that you love your Nima. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, all right.
Oh, nice.
M&Ms.
We got a smiley.
Good to go.
Yeah.
For this particular lot.
For this particular lot, yeah. And that is a good point. It's important to, for these foods that you don't know if there's cross-contamination, if things are changing on the lines.
Yeah.
Always make sure that that you're testing and validating for yourself. The other exciting thing that we're doing is we do have a Nima app that right now it works best for restaurant foods. So people can log the restaurant food that they've tested, and then other people can go in and see. So Shireen can see the tests that I've logged at the restaurants that I've logged at, and we have an update for specifically for packaged foods that we're currently working on. Won't be ready quite yet, but we'll have the flow for that very soon too. So everyone can see any testing that we're doing or any testing that you guys are doing. You'll be able to share that out with anyone.
Just checking on questions here. Someone asked if there's a list of foods. I'm assuming that was around foods that we've tested with Nima. And on the app, there are restaurant dishes that have been tested, so you can search near you, or if you're traveling to a city, you can search for that city to see what's been tested. And we definitely want to build an app experience so that you can actually test packaged foods and share that experience as well. So that's in the pipeline.
Yeah. And on our blog, we do have several blog posts with just a lot of information on specific foods that we've tested, and a lot of just information. We love sharing it out there, getting all the info out on foods that we've tested, restaurants that we've tested. So you can see a lot of that in our blog, but as Shireen said, the app will be the main repository for that data is going to really start exploding soon.
One question that's a great question is, hey, have you found gluten in gluten-free foods? And in our testing, which we've been doing, over the past few years and from various iterations of the product, we found between 20 to 30% of the gluten-free labeled dishes that we're testing have found to have gluten in even just the sample. And some of that early user testing is showing the same thing, assuming that people are testing gluten-free foods. So it's, we understand why it's stressful eating out. It's why we started the company. It was a pain point to eat socially and stay healthy. And we really, truly believe Nima is bringing peace of mind at mealtime by giving you that extra data point. And in terms of how sensitive is Nima in terms of the ppm level, the whole platform has been tuned to 20 ppm. Again, that whole tuning is dependent on just how you're testing, what you're testing, the food and everything. And on our website, we have exactly what you can and cannot test. So please go reference that website as you think about using Nima.
Yeah. Seeing a few questions come in here. So. One question was around how we recommend testing hard candies for gluten. So for that, for a hard candy, like a Jolly Rancher, that's something that you want to crush up first. So crush that into little pieces or potentially some powder. You can dilute that if you want in the capsule there. But that's something that you're going to want to break up beforehand so that the Jolly Rancher doesn't break Nima.
Just a really excellent question from Lauren Root about what the best practices are interacting with restaurants. When you do find gluten in unexpected places. And as a best practice, we generally say don't do anything differently in terms of what you're already doing. Ask if it's gluten-free, make sure that you understand the best practices of the kitchen. And then if you actually do test food and it comes up positive for gluten, what I've done in the past is just tell the wait staff, I am so sensitive, I carry this device around, it came up positive for gluten, and most of the time, 99% of the time, the staff has been so accommodating. They've taken the plate away, comped it, and asked if there's anything else I feel comfortable. Now, of course, that experience is going to be so dependent, restaurant from restaurant, but at the end of the day, this is not meant to change your behavior, it's meant to validate what you're already doing with an extra data point, and then, just be respectful, and restaurants are trying as hard as they can, and Nima is just working to make sure you get the data you need. Yeah,
and we do on our FAQs we have a whole FAQ about what to do if you get a glutinous result when you're out at a restaurant. So we give you some tips just for how to interact with the staff, what to say. We had another question about overseas shipping. So we are only in the US for now, and we don't have a firm date yet on when we'll start shipping overseas, but we do have a lot of interest from people in Europe and Canada, other places. So definitely something that's on a roadmap, but no firm date on that yet.
There's a question around test capsules, I believe,
yeah, the
and
subscriptions. Yeah.
So the test capsules, if you order a starter kit, it'll come with 3 capsules that we want you to start getting used to the whole platform and how to use it. So it'll just come with 3 capsules for you to start testing it. Now the capsules are one-time use, and we think about that as sort of 1 per plate. You can put multiple things from a plate in that capsule, but if you want to test breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you'd be using 3 different capsules. And then in terms of a subscription, the subscription is available depending on your frequency of use. And each subscription, it comes with a 12-pack. So you could get a 12-pack depending on how often you're planning to use that, once a month, a few times a month, once every other month, etc.
Yep. Yeah, so there's a question about are we marketing to restaurants? So right now our focus is working just directly with consumers. We really see that this is a pain point for consumers. It's the consumer that really wants to solve this problem. But we definitely do see a lot of potential in us working with restaurants in the future. So there's already one restaurant in San Francisco called Pika Pika where we've taken Nima in there and tested every dish that they have on the menu and validated all of them to be gluten-free. So that's definitely something that we see wanting to do more of, especially as we start getting more data in the app, is working very closely with restaurants, because there are a lot of restaurants that, like Pika Pika, are 100% gluten-free or try really hard to make sure that they have really good practices. And we want to make sure that we can help elevate that and show it to our customers too, who are wanting to get that type of information.
And they've been really interested in Nima because they also understand there's that inherent risk of change of supplies, cross-contamination when you're getting food to the restaurant, change in wait staff, breakdown in communication. So it's something that restaurants want, and we started with consumers because that's where we saw the real pain point, and eventually want to equip everyone who wants a Nima with a Nima.
Yeah. You first.
You.
I saw a question earlier about someone asking if the app is available yet, and it is. So you can get it on the iOS App Store. You can download the Nima app, and if you have a Nima device, you can also log your tests, sync every test that you run on here, and tag it into the app. If you don't have a Nima device, you can still use the app and go in and see any tests that have been run by other people. So you can search in our map, find restaurants near you, and every test that is uploaded automatically goes in there, so you're continuously getting new information and more data.
Yeah.
Let's see. So it looks like we had a question about when refills ship. So that is based on when you ordered them. And so for people that have pre-ordered, we're getting in touch with each of the pre-order customers to get their subscription, what they want for the subscription, their address, that type of thing. And so for each person that's pre-ordered, we'll get in touch with you and make sure that we know what subscription that you want, so we can start getting to those to you ASAP.
And those refill packs at retail will cost $60, so $5 per capsule. Again, we think about that as $5 per plate. And then for the pre-order customers, they've locked in a $4 per capsule rate.
Yeah. We have a question about when the Android app will be available. So we are currently working on an Android app. The first thing that we're doing for that is wanting to make sure that we can get you firmware updates. So one of the things that we're doing as the product is out there and as we're getting more data is we're continuously making Nima better. So the Nima that you get at first will only continue to improve. And so the first feature that we're putting in that Android app is giving you the ability to do those firmware updates. After that, we're looking to replicate the feature set that we have in the iOS app as quickly as we can, and those features will come out on a rolling basis. So Android users, we hear you, and we're definitely working on the app for you also.
And a question around availability in Canada. At this time, we're only available in the United States. If you get it shipped to someone in an address in the US and find a way to get it, we recommend doing that if you're outside of the US. We're working really hard to get everyone who wants a Nima, globally as soon as we can, but focus on the US for the foreseeable future.
Erica, we can't wait to see your writing about your restaurant experiences too.
Oh, awesome, Erica. Okay, so our time is up for today's Facebook Live show. Hope you have a wonderful and safe Halloween and healthy Halloween. I don't know if there's any such thing, but if you have any additional questions, please feel free to leave a comment below or hit us up on Instagram, Twitter at Nima Censor. Remember, if you're sharing your experiences, remember to hashtag Nima Tested. Thank you and see you soon. And I'm going to just leave you with one last page here is just the community stories. We want you to all be part of our community, hashtag Nima Tested. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.